To give you an idea on just how horribly stupid this episode of The Acolyte was, just look at Grace Randolph, a person who has been praising this series. Even she says that was awful. And before I get into it, could you do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button? It's a free thing that you could do that helps out the channel. I really appreciate it. We're almost at 90K. Look at us go. Now get your popcorn, because it's going to be something. Now I'm going to do some people a solid here. I'm going to give you the quick version before I do the entire breakdown, so you don't have to watch the entire thing. Basically, this was a flashback scene from the Jedi's point of view. The Jedis were on a planet. They were looking for life. Soul comes across these two twins, and some weird thing happens to him. He falls in love. Not falls in love, but he's attached to Osha. And he's like, that's got to be my Padawan. I know it. This is why we're here. I got to rescue her. Things like that. So then they go against the council and they go investigate. We saw all this in episode 3. They find the twins and Soul is like, I got to save them. I got to save. We got to get them back. We got to steal them from these witches, right? The council instructs them, say, no, you've interfered too much. You need to come back. Don't take the twins with you. And, complete your mission. Just leave those people alone. He doesn't listen. He's like, that's got to be my Padawan. So he feels weird that something's happening. And he goes back to the Covenant. He brings this Padawan, the white guy, the white Jedi Padawan with him. And they go and they're like, yeah, we're here to steal the twins. The other twins' mother, I don't know what her name is, not the main mama, the secondary mama. She decides to get May all riled up. They use your anger. We got to fight them, and locks all the witches together in this room and traps the Jedi. They then go into some kind of mind reading thing, and the Wookiee Jedi decides to fight the other Jedi. But before that, Soul ends up killing the head mama witch because she turned into some smoke thing and he just stabs her with his lightsaber. And when they killed the other witch by removing her from the mind of the Wookiee, all the witches died. The whole place set on fire. It was the Jedi's fault. The Jedi decided to lie to the council. They decided to lie to the children. Decided to cover everything up. And that's the end of the episode. That's it. Nothing else. So if you don't want the full breakdown, that's it. It was the Jedi's fault that all the witches died. So if you want to watch the rest, well, I'll have nice, cool little slides. We'll get into that right now. Well, for those that are sticking with me, hey, I appreciate it. So let's get this episode off and running. Our story begins on Brendok, 16 years earlier, with our 4 Jedi. You know, the 4 Jedi that May was trying to kill, and she accomplished, she killed 3 of them, except for Soul, in this entire series. Well, the Jedi are there, and they're looking for life. I mean, they even had the Wookiee out with some weird metal detector. So they're all sitting around, they're picking up plants, and they don't understand why there's some weird life here, because they begin to explain that life exited this planet some time ago. So then they send Soul out on some mission. They're like, hey, go check out this area over there. He gets on his speeder bike and he discovers May and Osha playing in the woods, and he follows them back and he discovers all the witches. That's right. He sees that they're doing something to this hole. I don't know. They're all praying to this hole, and it freaks him out, and he doesn't know what to do. So then he goes back and he tells the other master, I'm going to call her Trinity from The Matrix because I don't know, I don't remember her name. So sorry, forgive me. He tells her, and then he develops this weird obsession with Osha, where he's like, hey, we got to get these kids out of there, and Osha's supposed to be my Padawan. I have a connection with her. I feel, that she's supposed to be with me. And I want her safe. And he hasn't even had a conversation with her. Doesn't even know anything about her. All of a sudden, it's just, hey, that's supposed to be my Padawan. That's right. I know it is. That's just what it's supposed to be. So we're going to go back and we're going to steal them. Well, Master Trinity's like, we got to consult the council and see what they have to say. Well, they did. They told the council what was going on. They told them about the Force Witch. So now they know. The Jedi Council knows about the Force Witches and all that stuff. And Master Trinity says, nah, they don't want you to take this girl back. You've interfered with them too much. We got to stay on our mission. We got to keep collecting plants, and we got to leave this covenant and, don't bother them. The council wants you to leave the girls there. They're too old for the training. And Soul just goes crazy. He's like, I want to do what's best for Osha. I got to save her. I got to get her out of there because I know that's what she wants. Now, remember, they already showed this episode of Osha going through some of the Jedi, testing. So all that stuff has already happened. And Soul got to be the worst Jedi ever, not listening to anyone. He was even scolded earlier as to why he doesn't have a Padawan. And goes against everybody and is like, I got to do what's best for Osha, so something feels wrong, and I'm going to go steal her. Well, in the meantime, the other mother gets May all riled up, and it's like, let's lock everybody in here. May, use your anger. You got to fight. And then she goes to the witches, and it's like, witches, you got to arm yourself because the Jedi are coming. We know they're coming. She tells May, go lock Osha in her room and convince her not to leave with the Jedi, because remember in episode 3, she was going to leave. And we're going to fight some Jedi when they get here. So let's get ready. So now the two mothers are talking. And I guess Mama, not the one holding the staff, was like, this is what Osha wanted. I was going to let her go. Like, you should let her go. And the other mom's like, I told you I would die before I let the Jedi take my child. So they had a little moment between parents, I guess. It was very weird. And the head mom was like, you should let her make her own decision. Oh, you should let her go. Well, the Jedi show up. And they get a lecture from this witch. Basically saying, the way you're acting. You know what you're doing around here? Eventually it's going to catch up to you. And it's going to destroy every Jedi in the galaxy. We foresee it. We know it's coming. We know you're going to be a problem. And Soul and the Padawan white guy, I don't know, the whatever, he's like, they're like, we just want the twins. Well, May comes running because she started the fire, remember? And she's crying. Well, that head mama witch turns into some spirit, and it freaks Soul out that he just stabs her in the stomach with a lightsaber while she's some misty force ghost. As you can see, the Padawan, yellow lightsaber, of course. So she dies. And May is just freaking out that her mom is dead. And Soul is all upset. He's like, I killed someone. And the other witch here turns into a misty fog and possesses the Wookiee Jedi. So now we get like this really long lightsaber fight between a possessed Wookiee and Soul, who's like, I can't believe I killed this witch. And he's just all sad. And so all the scars that came on this Padawan, we saw him later where he's just floating. He's been floating this whole time because of guilt. Had all those scars on his face. Came from the Wookiee. The Wookiee messed his face up. Well, then the Trinity Jedi, she shows up. She puts her hands on the Wookiee's head. I kid you not. And then it goes to the scene of all the witches singing and dancing. It makes no sense. Well, the Trinity is just like using the Force so strong and gets the other mom wish out of the head, I guess, of the Wookiee. And she does it too strong. And while doing it too strong, she kills all the witches. They all just fall over. And then Trinity looks at Soul and says, hey, get the twins. We're getting out of here. Well, he can only get one, remember, because there was a fire. And then they put a plan together. The Padawan walks over and is like, what are we going to tell the council? And they like, well, we're going to lie to them. We're just basically going to say May burned down and everybody died. And Soul's like, no, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't be lying. And he goes, well, and she's like, what? You got to lie or you're never going to have your Padawan, basically. So then Osha wakes up And she's like, what happened? So then they lie to the child. And that's the end of the episode. That's it. Nothing happened. Except this entire episode was to make the Jedi look bad, stupid, liars, lying to children, cover up. It's all it did. You know, the council knows about these witches and these children, these twins. So now that bleeds. What is that? That does not bleed into episode 1. You know, that's not in the archives. All that stuff. And you're telling me that one Padawan who just floated for 16 years and drank the poison to die had that much guilt when he didn't really do anything wrong? He just stood there? And the others were just feeling guilty. The Wookiee Jedi felt so guilty he just lived on a planet away from everyone? He didn't even do anything. He was possessed. But they felt that guilty? This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It makes no sense. It makes no sense that Soul is like, oh, that's my Padawan. Doesn't even know the child. It makes no sense that the other Padawan just floated in a chair for 17 years, 16 years, and then said, yep, I need to die. It makes no sense that the Wookiee Jedi, oh, dude, it makes no sense. We got one episode left. How are they going to tie all this in? The only thing I could think of is that everybody dies, and that's it. That's the end of the series. This does not progress any story. It doesn't do anything. The characters are Soul is the worst Jedi. He's no Qui-Gon that people were saying early on. He's terrible. It's stupid. I'm sorry. One episode left, and then we're done with this. But man, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Just when you think it can't get worse, they just make it worse. So, Jedi are bad. That's the whole purpose of the show. The Jedi suck. We're going to change that. Lucasfilm's going to change it. Disney, Star Wars is going to change the Jedi. So they don't act like this anymore. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. This is Jay. Holy moly, what an episode.